Over the weekend, it was last Friday, I guess, but over the weekend, news broke that, and I just want to give everybody a heads up on this one. We are talking about a child victim here. Child, little boy, okay? And so this might be one you want to skip. If, I mean, we should all be, I was about to say, if you're sensitive to such things, we should all be sensitive to this sort of stuff. It should shock the conscience of every single one of us watching and discussing this case right now. But I want to just give you permission, in case you need it, that we're talking about a little boy here who is the victim of a heinous, heinous crime. Multiple crimes down in Texas, and I want to give you an out. So, fair warning, this is a tough one, okay? We are talking about, here is our victim. His name is Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez. Look at that little guy. Those of you that are watching, there's some that are listening. They're like, I don't see anything. Well, yeah, don't adjust your screens in your car or whatever. You're not seeing it. But this is a little boy with special needs. He was born with special needs. And we can go over what those were. But one of those things that he really needed was parents who loved him and looked after him, cared for him. And it appears that he had none of that. This case takes us from the Dallas, Texas area all across international borders onto the FBI's most wanted list before this child's mother and stepfather were arrested and extradited back here to the States to face justice in his murder. So grateful for the U.S. Marshals, the FBI agents, the police officers here in the States and abroad who made it possible for these people to come back and to face justice. So, got a big show today talking about Noel's case. We also are, we're continuing our giveaway. We'll talk about that here in just a second. We're going to do 3 questions. We got headlines, some touching and also heartbreaking news from the Anna Kepner case. Got some updates on Nancy Guthrie, and we've got some cleanup. And Wanda tells me that she and her barbershop quartet, these are her nephews, her grandchildren, and also she sings bass, has prepared a good news jingle for us. So we're looking forward to that. We've got, what do we got? We got 10 gallons of content to put into a 5-gallon show. Stay with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. So grateful that you would be here. On this channel, we like to cut past the fluff and sensationalism in true crime, get right down into the nitty-gritty. And if that is your deal, if that's what you enjoy too, you found the right place, and I'm glad you have. Thanks for tuning in. And tell me where you're tuning in from. I love that in the live chat. I love that in the comments. Tell me where you're watching or listening. Bonus points if you can put it in like some sort of creative way that I will actually understand. The home of the Daytona 500, for example. I would get that. That's in Indianapolis, something like that, right? It doesn't matter. Okay. But bonus points if you do that. Definitely put GF in your comment because that helps me to see it on my end if you're on the live chat. It gives me a little highlighty poo on this side. And I don't know. I love knowing where you guys are watching and listening from. I just love that. Hey, we're in the last few days, the final stretch of our giveaway, guys. Here's the deal. You guys give me so much. Like, honestly, I'm not blowing smoke here. I am so grateful that I get to, in the comfort of my little home office, 5 nights a week, bring you content that you like, and you guys take care of me. You watch, you like, you share, you subscribe. Some of you are members, some of you are patrons. By the way, we're going to be adding some membership and patron benefits here. I've got somebody helping me out on this. But you give me so much. You're a member of the fish tank, right? And I feel like I need to give more back, and that is where Fan of Them comes in. I've teamed up with fanofthem.com, a veteran-owned small business, to bring you an awesome chance to win this amazing Omega Speedmaster chronograph. I love sport watches. I love Omega. I love Speedmaster. I don't currently own an Omega, but boy, am I hopeful that one of you will own this one. All you have to do, see, normally if you give me a super chat or a super sticker, uh, I guess you get the benefit of having supported me. Like, you get to feel all warm and fuzzy about it. But if you go to fanofthem.com/GavinFish and use the money that you would normally do on a super chat or super sticker to purchase some uh, limited edition collectible merch or a digital download, it will enter you to win this Omega, and it supports me, it supports my channel. So please go to fanofthem.com/GavinFish, get yourself some limited edition merch, get yourself a digital download, and get yourself a chance or many to enter to win this Omega Speedmaster. Thank you very, very much for the support. Thank you, fanofthem.com, for partnering with me on this, and good luck to all of you. Okie dokie. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait. Can't wait to know who wins. It's gonna be awesome. I'm wearing my chronograph right now, but sadly it is not an Omega Speedmaster. One of you is going to get one. Guys, let's start off. I want to start off. This case is tough. This case is tough. Let's start off channeling our inner Gisela, and let's do just a little map time. Okay? We're going to do a little map time on this just so we all know where we are in the world. Most of you who watch are from inside the fruited plains. You live somewhere from sea to shining sea in these United States of America, but many of you do not. So here is the US, and our little red pin right there is Dallas, Texas area. Okay? If we zoom in, it goes even closer to this here house in a little neighborhood, and this is Wisteria Drive in Everman, Texas. It is just let's see, is that the right house? I think hold on. I want to make sure that looks like the right house, but I just want to make sure I've got the right house. Let's look at it this way. Yeah, I do. Okay. This is our house, okay? This is just a neighborhood of ranch style homes. They look, what are they, 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet? The little homes look like they were built in the 50s. But this house was holding a secret, okay? Behind this house is another structure. It's like a shed. And let me push the right button here. It looks like this, okay? This little shed does not have plumbing. Looks like it does have electricity. It has some window air conditioning units. But inside this house lived Cindy Rodriguez-Singh. You can see her here in her mugshot. And her husband, Darship Singh. Okay? Mrs. Rodriguez-Singh is the mother of 10 children. She has many children. It appears that their fathers are myriad. And this is just me saying, this is my opinion. This just seems to be a person who is just cuckoo, just kind of not there. And I just, I just, I gotta believe that there's some kind of mental health challenge here because because it makes me feel better when I learn about what happened to this young man. Uh, but Mrs. Rodriguez-Singh, she has 10 children, to my knowledge anyway. They're 10. But she was living in this structure kind of, with 6 of her children and eventually her husband, Mr. Singh. Now, having no plumbing or anything like that, they would go into the house in front, belonging to, I think, a Mr. Parsons. Let me bring that up here. I think I want to get that right. Yeah, Mr. Parson and Charles Parson. He kind of described himself as the godfather or the adopted godfather of these children. This photograph, by the way, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, like in this photo, the house looks decrepit and run down. While when we look at it on Google Maps, it looks nicer. This must be this is April of 2025. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to be referring to crimetimelines.com a lot on this as we talk about little Noel. Okay? But this whole area is called Everman, Texas. So, Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez here, 6-year-old boy whose disappearance triggered a large-scale international investigation. Okay? I'm just going to give you a little timeline. It's actually not little. Crimetimelines.com has done a terrific job building out a big timeline. Now, it sometimes is redundant, but they are reporting what authorities reported, which is oftentimes redundant. Okay, but let's bring up little Noel's picture here. First off, okay, in 2013, so we're going back 13 years. Cindy Rodriguez moves into the residence of Charles Parson. He saw her sleeping in her vehicle outside his home. So what's been reported, he lived alone at the time. He had 2 unused bedrooms. And so he invited Cindy and her children to live with him inside the home. A bit of a good Samaritan. From 2013, for the next 10 years, Parson, whose picture I don't have, I kind of feel like we don't have to have his picture on this because I don't know, but I don't think that he had anything to do with this. He might also just have some kind of, I know that he has medical issues, but maybe he was willingly ignorant of things that were happening. I don't know. But over that 10 years, 2013 to 2023, Parson described Cindy and her children like becoming family to him over the years. And this can sometimes be a beautiful thing, right? I mean, when we moved out here to Western Pennsylvania, we met a family that none of them were related at all. And they were brother and sisters, and they cared for one another, and they lived with one another, and they had made their own family, which is a beautiful thing. Parson referred to himself as Cindy's adopted godfather. He did not charge her rent while living at the property, but she did contribute, he said, to, household bills. She cared for him during times where he was having medical problems. She would typically buy groceries. She would prepare meals for the household. So it seemed to be a, an arrangement that worked for everybody. He said they shared meals inside the home. He knew and loved and was familiar with all of the children living at the property. So, sometime in the mid to late 2010s, I don't know exactly when, Cindy married Mr. Singh and became Cindy Rodriguez-Singh. And it was at that time that the family began to use the structure in the backyard. Now, again, no plumbing. And what Parson said was that Darship Singh, this guy, bought the structure, and that Parson said, yeah, go ahead and put it in the backyard. Perfectly fine. There's no foundation here. I'm sure it's not tied to the ground. It's probably, oh my, this is probably not a safe place for people to live. But Parson said, totally cool with me. You can put it out there. And so there it was. Had electricity, no bathroom. So Cindy Rodriguez-Singh and Arshdeep Singh and the children continued to use not only the bathroom inside the house, but also the 2 extra bedrooms in the main house. Investigators, by the way, later identified the main residence and the backyard structure as locations connected to the disappearance of little Noel. Okay, little Noel here was born on February 2nd of 2017. I don't know. His father was a deported individual. So Mr. Singh is not his father. Leads me to believe that Mr. Singh entered the family sometime after 2017, but I don't know. But little Noel here, he was reportedly born premature, and he suffered from multiple developmental disabilities and physical disabilities. He had visual impairment. He had esotropia, which is, the crossing of his eyes. He was delayed of speech. He had chronic lung disease. And he required ongoing medical care. This is just, this breaks my heart. But he had these health conditions and he required extra care. He lived in that same structure with his mom. Relatives did kind of later, they described that there was kind of instability in the household. Witnesses said that little Noel was frequently isolated from the other children, that he was treated differently because of his disabilities and his medical needs. So yeah, not like the happiest of childhoods for anyone, especially little Noel. This thing, guy, this kills me because I was talking to a friend just last night. He came over to the house and talking about his childhood, and a guy who's much older than me, had a happy family and everything. And you guys know that I describe my childhood as magical, and it was. And I just wish that every child had the same kind of that every child would grow up and say, you know what my childhood was? It was magical. It was awesome. Sadly, I think I'm in the minority. I think few kids get that. I think some people have harder childhoods and they come out of it. Like I recently became reconnected with a childhood friend that I hadn't seen probably since junior high. And, he lived in a place that there was a lot of instability. but he turned out terrific, right? Like really great. And he would extend a lot of grace to his mom and his few stepfathers. And, they were just they were doing the best that they could. And he's had a good attitude about it. But man, I still wish that he would have had the same happy childhood that I had. And he just lived a few houses down. So I feel like I'm in the minority. But Noel here, I keep wanting to say Noel, but it is pronounced Noel. Um, at least according to everybody who's saying it out loud, and in Spanish would be Noel. Um, he had a far from magical childhood. He was segregated. He was ostracized. He was not given the extra care that he needed. In fact, according to CrimeTimelines.com, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, sometime in 2020, uh, in a car full of many of her children, crashed her car into a pole while driving drunk. And when that happened, her children, it says several, I don't know if it was several or all or the ones that she had, were removed from her custody. And she was convicted of felony repeated driving while intoxicated. So this appears to be a woman that has some sort of substance addiction issue. I don't know if she was intoxicated with alcohol, she was intoxicated with drugs. I have no idea. But she was convicted of felony repeat driving while intoxicated. I imagine that's probably alcohol, because otherwise there would be other consequences, because she was sentenced to 10 years probation. She was required to do daily random breathalyzer testing. And it says that she stopped consuming alcohol reportedly after beginning her probation. So having, I guess, gotten a little cleaner in her life, let's see, before I get to that, authorities stated that 3 of Rodriguez-Singh's children, including Noel, were placed into foster care before eventually being returned to her custody in 2021. And so 3 of her 10 children. It says that 7 of her 10 children lived with her. 3 others lived with their grandmother through what investigators described as a voluntary arrangement. Now, going into 2022, little Noel is described by witnesses as appearing visibly underweight. Some relatives alleged that Noel was denied food. And this is another one that just kills me. Because why can't why can't we expect that all children be cared for? Right? Just get the basic needs. Like, I want everybody to be loved and cared for and treasured, right? But at the very least, can we make sure that they're fed? And it appears that little Noel was not, and he was seemed to be unique among her children for this. So people say that he was denied food, and investigators said that his physical condition worsened throughout 2022. There were later witnesses that say that he was physically abused, frequently confined to the inside of his house. And does this remind you of anybody? I'm trying to find, do I have this? I don't think I have the button anymore, but you remember the Kimberly Sullivan case, right? Where that kid for decades was kept inside. So there's some sort of hatred or envy or something towards this child, is what it seems like. It was in that same year, 2022, that Noel stopped attending school consistently, right? On again, off again. Excuses were repeatedly provided regarding his absences. But over 2022, at least according to family members, he was increasingly hidden from the world, from outsiders. So July 21st, 2022, he was seen by a professional for speech therapy. He was described as being extremely thin. Relatives said that he would scavenge for food because he wasn't adequately fed. He was isolated from the other children in the residence, but the July 21st, he was seen by a professional. October of 2022 is the last known time. And I don't know specifically when, but October 2022 was the last time that he was believed to have been seen alive by anyone other than immediate family. School records confirmed that Noel stopped attending classes in October 2022. He was only seen twice during that month. And Charles Parson, the person who owned the home, right? He said that Cindy told him she attempted to send Noel to live with his biological father in Mexico so that Noel could receive additional care and attention for his disabilities. According to Parson, Noel's biological father either could not or did not want to take custody of him. And then apparently, according to Parson anyway, Cindy Rodriguez-Singh claimed to him to say that his paternal aunt, so his dad who lived in Mexico's aunt, agreed to take him. So I think this is the point at which Mr. Parson is like, oh, that's why I don't see little Noel, is that he is at his aunt's house. She has decided she can't take care of the 7 children, and she is offloading this one the same way she did the 3 previous, right? Investigators later said that Noel's dad had been deported before Noel was born and had never even met the child. Okay, so in late October 2022, well, around this time there were 2 more children that were born, and they were twins. And it was about that time, after the twins were born, that Cindy allegedly started to refer to Noel as possessed. Apparently saying, or allegedly saying, that Noel had a demon inside him, and she feared that he would hurt the newborn twins. And detectives said that it was during this time that his treatment inside that home got even worse. On November 1st of 2022, Cindy and Darsheep obtained passport photographs for themselves. Well, I think Darsheep had a passport. She obtained a passport for herself and 6 of her children. So let's do the math real quick. She has 10. 3 are with grandma. That's 7. But for some reason, she is getting 6 passport photos herself plus 6 for her children. She did not get a passport photo for little Noel. Of course, detectives go, that's significant because we thought that he was living with the family and nobody's seen him. So there's, the suspicion is certainly raised here, right? Um, let's see. By November 6th of 2022, investigators discovered that Cindy Rodriguez-Singh had been researching the costs of traveling to India. And then later that month, relatives, we found out later, right? But so relatives later told investigators that in November of 2022, Cindy had claimed that Noel had died. So she's got multiple stories going on. She's got, oh, he's with his dad in Mexico. Oh, no, he is with his dad's aunt. No, no, no. Now she's saying he has died. Apparently, she claimed that he died choking while drinking water. And yeah, no death was ever reported to police, medical officials. No death was ever reported. So the following March, November, December, January, February, March, we're on month 5. Police in Everman, Texas receive a welfare concern regarding Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez. Guys, what can we learn from this? Okay, listen. Does this have to be an Uncle Gavin moment? You know what? It does. Uncle Gavin.
Listen up, kids. Uncle Gavin has some wisdom for you.
Okay, kids. Uncle Gavin here. Listen. If a child is losing weight, you know that they are being ostracized from other members of the family. You know that food is being withheld from them. You see that they are scavenging food. And the mother or parent, could be the father, whatever, guardian of that child says, you stop seeing the child. And then the mother just says, well, I want him to go with his dad. No, I want him to go with his dad's aunt. No, he died choking on water. Don't wait 5 months to report that to authorities. What is the matter with you? Do it. Do it. Do it now. Protect that child. Come on. And listen, I know that there are societal and social pressures, right, that keep many of us from doing the right thing. We don't want to get involved, and we don't want to be hated by our family members. We don't want to, there are just so many things. But listen, 5 months? 5 months from October to March is the delta between the time that you know stuff is going on and the time that you actually call in a welfare check. So, okay, March 20th. Police respond to the house. Relatives contact them after being suspicious about Noel's prolonged absence. Listen, we don't need the theme song again. But if a child is absent for a couple of days, that's prolonged enough. The officers arrive. They attempt to verify Noel's location. Authorities ask Cindy where he is. She says to them, apparently, that he is with his biological father in Mexico. And then family members, other family members, so this could be the children, reportedly gave conflicting statements about where Noel was living. And so detectives open a missing child investigation. The next day, Arshdeep Singh here reportedly drove the property owner, Charles Parson, to a hospital for a medical procedure. Parson stated he expected Cindy and Arshdeep to pick him up following the operation. According to Parson, he called multiple times, tried to contact the couple. He was unsuccessful. And as he made the phone calls, he got messages saying that the phones had been disconnected. And it was on that day that a public announcement was made that this little kiddo right here, 6 years old, they announced that he was missing and endangered. They confirmed that he hadn't been in school since October. They learned that and announced that his stepfather, Mr. Singh, discarded a carpet into a nearby dumpster. The carpet had reportedly been used as flooring within that shed that had been on the family's property. Detectives also learned that electronic travel visas were obtained as preparations were made by the family to leave the country. They started interviewing relatives, neighbors, school officials. They started searching for this child all throughout the Everman area. The following day, on March 22nd, they released surveillance images showing the family of Noel going through the security gate at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, boarding an international flight to India, the land of Rodriguez-Singh. In the surveillance footage, Noel was not seen. So, yeah, they had left the United States only days before police attempted to do some formal interviews regarding Noel's whereabouts. And of course, you know, I wouldn't say they were panicking, but they were going, there's an issue here. So the following day, March 23rd, the FBI joins the investigation looking for Noel. CPS reaches out to the biodad, a guy named Mariano Alvarez Contreras in Mexico. They learned that he had been deported before Noel was born. He had never met the child. He didn't have the child. The Department of Public Safety there in Texas began assisting search teams, fearing that he was dead, used cadaver dogs and forensics specialists to search for little Noel. They did find a 2012 gray Silverado, which they believed the family had been traveling in, and they dug up part of a concrete patio at the Everman home. I've got some. This is actually. I'm actually not sure about this picture, what the time frame is, but I mean, they started to do a real deep investigation. You can see that they've got a mini excavator out there. They've got a skid steer out there. They've got tents. They've got tents. They've got these pop-ups. It looks like they've got sieves, buckets. They are going through, they're digging and sifting through dirt. And of course, they had a search warrant and all that stuff. So the following day, March 24th, authorities announced, they're like, we fear that he's no longer alive. We believe that he died months earlier. And they start, expanding the forensic examination. The following day, they issued an Amber Alert for Noel, saying that he hadn't been seen in months. He was probably in immediate danger. Actually, I think I've got. No, I don't. I don't have that Amber Alert. But anyway, on that same day, March 25th, the police announced that Noel had suffered prolonged abuse before disappearing. He was isolated regularly. He was denied food. Search teams started looking through dumpsters, through landfills, through wooded areas, just, knowing that, what's his name? Darsheep? Arsheep? Now I can't remember. Let me see. Arshdeep, that's what it is. There we are. So knowing that Arshdeep had thrown away that carpet, so they're going to landfills, they're looking all over the place. Let's see, they uh, they discontinued the Amber Alert the next day. They searched that converted shed behind the house. They expanded searches throughout all of North Texas. They used cadaver dogs. They went to landfills. Let's bring up Noel here. At that point, it was on the 28th that Charles Parson said that CPS previously removed her children from the home and returned them. The FBI continues they're helping the investigation, and the Department of Homeland Security formally joins the investigation. So now we've got 2 federal agencies. We've got multiple state agencies trying to figure out what happened to this kiddo. The next day, Everman Police Chief Craig Spencer, who is now the city manager, stated that they believed that he was likely deceased, confirmed there were no sightings of him since October of 2022. Stated that witness statements suggested Noel died months before the investigation became public. And it was March 30th that, here we are, it's March 30th that they started to use heavy equipment to remove concrete from areas around the property connected to the investigation. But they were not able to find any remains during their excavation. This is back in 2023. So much going on here. So on the 31st, with Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, Arshdeep Singh, and 6 of her children out of the country in India, authorities issue an arrest warrant for Cindy. She's charged with abandoning and endangering a child because they don't have a body yet. They can't prove that Noel is dead, but they know that she left without him. So they're saying she intentionally left the United States of America without this child, and she did it to avoid the investigation. April 5th, 2023. Let's see. They announced that they're pursuing other leads. April 10th, they searched a wooded area east and north of the home, then obtained a search warrant to remove the entire concrete patio on the property. Canines trained to find human remains alerted investigators to a carpet that served as the flooring in the shed in the backyard of the patio. As they removed the concrete from the patio, multiple canines alerted police to the topsoil underneath it, leading investigators to believe there were human remains within the shed before the patio was installed. The next day, April 6th, they announce that they are transitioning the case from missing child to presumed death. They end the endangered missing person alert for little Noel. Let's bring him up again. They continue to search the wooded areas. And let's see, I'm just going to kind of skip ahead here. April 18th, Everman Police stated investigators learned Cindy Rodriguez-Smith worshipped Santa Muerte. Authorities alleged Cindy referred to Noel as possessed, evil, and a demon she feared would harm her newborn twins. They expanded the search operations. They stated they had newly analyzed data prompting searches covering several square miles. In April 2023, the United States Marshal Service joined the efforts, so now we have 3 federal agencies. They coordinated with Indian officials regarding extradition and the family's whereabouts. Detectives continued searching, looking through digital evidence, travel records, witness statements. Okay? And that takes us to April 25th of 2023. April 25th, Craig Spencer, the police chief, announced new developments in the investigation. He said that Noel, visibly was malnourished and unhealthy. They said extended family members were among the last people known to have seen him alive. They announced that Arshdeep Singh was now facing additional felony theft charge related to stealing approximately $10,000 in cash from his employer before leaving the United States. And Still no body, though. Still no body. Okay. Let me skip ahead here. Let's see. October 30th, 2023, they announced at a news conference in Forest Hill that a grand jury had indicted Cindy Rodriguez-Singh on 4 criminal counts, including capital murder, including or in connection with the disappearance and presumed death of Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez. They formally alleged that he was murdered after disappearing in late 2022. They reiterated that his remains had not yet been discovered, and they kept seeking Cindy Rodriguez-Singh, who they said fled to India with several children before the investigation became public. And then August 29th, 2024, the FBI announced a $25,000 reward for information leading to the location or arrest of Cindy. And I think I don't. I didn't bring it up. But anyway, she ended up being put on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list in July of 2025. And then in August of 2025, she was arrested in India and returned to the United States. This is her mugshot from that, and bond was set at $10 million. So August 21, she was returned to Tarrant County. She was only spent about 2 months on the FBI's most wanted list. She is facing a capital murder charge, and this is as of August 21st, right? And bond set at 10 million. She was found competent to stand trial. And then we jump forward, guys, to May 12th, 2026. So just a few days ago, less than a week ago, the FBI and Everman investigators began a new search operation at that former residence. They confirmed that evidence had been discovered at the former home there. And on the 14th, they announced that human remains had been discovered there. So that brings me to my first actual document of the day, which is this from Phil Sorrells, the district attorney there in Tarrant County in Texas. This was on Friday. For immediate release, remains recovered during Everman investigation identified as missing 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez. Human remains recovered this week during a law enforcement excavation at a residential property in Everman have been positively identified as those of 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez, whose disappearance led to a capital murder charge against his mother, Cindy Rodriguez. Noel was reported missing in March 2023, months after he was last seen alive in October 2022. At the time of his disappearance, investigators were falsely told that Noel was living with his biological father in Mexico. The remains were recovered during a coordinated investigative excavation at a home at the 3700 block of Wisteria Drive, this home right here. They were transported to the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's office where dental records confirmed they belonged to Noel. Noel was born with developmental and physical disabilities. Authorities have long believed he was deceased, but his remains had not been located until now. Cindy Rodriguez, 41, has been charged with capital murder in connection with Noel's disappearance. Shortly after the welfare check that launched the investigation, Rodriguez and Noel's stepfather, Arshdeep Singh, fled to India with 6 of her children. Noel was not with them. After the FBI placed Rodriguez on its 10 most wanted fugitives list, she was located in India, extradited to the United States, and booked into the Tarrant County Jail on August 21st, 2025. In April of 2026, she was found incompetent to stand trial and ordered to a state hospital for competency restoration. Did I say that wrong before? She was found incompetent to stand trial. I'm sorry about that. I said competent. No. Let's bring up, here's what she looks like now. So, ordered to a state hospital for competency restoration. Assistant criminal attorneys Rose Anna Salinas and Ashley Adiner are prosecuting the case. District Attorney Phil Sorrells reaffirmed his office's commitment to pursuing justice. Quote, "This case has weighed heavily on our community from the beginning. Noel was a child whose life mattered. He deserved protection, care, and love. Instead, he became the victim of an unthinkable crime. Our responsibility is to seek justice for Noel and hold Cindy Rodriguez fully accountable under the law. We owe that to Noel and the people of Tarrant County." And I'm hoping, I don't know if Archdeep is being charged with anything. Let me see if there's anything that I've found. No. Nope. So that is the story of little Noel Rodriguez. And a tragic one. And I have gone on and on and on and on tonight. Let us see what you guys are saying over in the live chat, which probably refreshed, and I'm going to miss a lot of the stuff, including where you're tuning in from. I kind of miss that. Robin says, "I'm just going to express that it takes more work to get a driver's license than it does to be a parent. You're given the precious gift of a child, and this is what you choose to do." And she continues, "I mean, you have to take a competency test for a driver's license." Yeah. Mooney says, "That watch looks like one that, given the magnetic field in my body, won't automatically stop." That's funny. It is an automatic watch. It's an automatic watch. Look at that. Just look at it. It's amazing, you guys. Better get in. fanofthem.com/Gavin Fish. Get in. Let's bring Noel back up. Here. There we go. All right. Let me keep on going here. Let's see. Q5T, Gavin just joined, and I already feel as if 9 of 10 children statistically will need a lot of therapy. I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, Kimberly, first thought Mr. Parsons was being used. Yeah, Court Lurker saying his foster mom wanted him back. This is one of those things, man. It seems like the foster system, and I am speaking as somebody who knows almost nothing about the foster system. But what I do know is that the main goal seems to be reuniting families. And on its face, that is a beautiful goal. Unless that family is FUBAR, right? If that family is FUBAR, why would you want them back in that family? Then again, slippery slope, right? Who decides which families are in worse shape than others? You know, that kind of stuff. It's so tough. It's so tough. Lynn Taylor, can you tell us what made your childhood magical? Yeah. And listen, childhood, even magic childhood, is not free of difficulties, right? What made my childhood magical is, first and foremost, I have parents who love each other unconditionally, fully, and put each other first. And I know that some of you disagree with me on this, but that is so important. That my mom put my dad first, my dad put my mom first, and together as a team, they put us first. That's the way it worked. There was no dividing that team. There was no pitting one of my parents against the other. We learned real fast what the consequences of that were, right? So I had parents who were a zipped up team, loved one another, and loved us. They provided us shelter. They provided us scrumptious victuals. They provided us entertainment. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. We were well cared for, well fed, and given every opportunity. Anything that we wanted to do, uh, within reason, it was within our grasp. We could do those things, right? We spent so much time in the backyard. We had a basketball standard. So much time, Dad and the boys, and the girls too. All five of us, we'd play with Dad. Mom hardly ever played, but shooting hoops all the time. They let us build like skateboard ramps in the backyard, and they let us. I mean, we got to do so many things. We had a bamboo grove in our backyard that just became building materials for so many like swords and bow staffs and stuff. It's just like it was. And then in adding to all of that, beyond the family life, I lived in a neighborhood that was safe and fun, full of families that had children roughly the same ages, right, as all of us. We all had plenty of neighborhood friends. We belonged to a church congregation that had tons of friends, all our age, many of which were also neighborhood friends, school friends. I mean, we just had so many friends, and a loving family, grandparents that would come to visit, and a place that we would go to visit grandparents and aunts and uncles. We no, it's just it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter black or white, rich or poor. If you have parents and a family that love you, that's what you need. Plus the basics, right? A cot, three squares, and with that, and the absence of any abuse, right? The absence of any abuse. Yeah, it's all kids deserve it. Court Lurker says, Gavin's right. All kids need to be treated the same. I don't get it, but I'm glad. Let's see. But glad I don't, because I could never get it. I could never understand it. Yeah. Yeah, Mooney, how could anyone isolate their own child? I just don't get it either. I'm wondering, Victoria, as well, why the stepdad isn't being charged. I don't know. Um, but he definitely assisted her leaving the country. Faux show. Um, you know what? Caroline Taterville brings this up. 10 children. Wow. Okay. My wife is the oldest of 9, but they were planned and purposeful pregnancies and children that were invited into a loving home, not just, oh, here comes more children. Here comes more children. Right? It's just, and my father-in-law is the oldest of 11. Still, parents who loved each other and loved the children, watched out for them, right? That's every child should be able to do that. Should be able to do that. Bergstrong, I remember the story. Can't believe it's been 4 years. Yeah, and this is a new story to me. It's crazy how fast time passes. Barb Olson says these schools need to get involved with the authorities to check out living conditions at home. Yeah, in our area, in the area that we live in, I think that if children were checked on to make sure that they lived in a place that was safe for them, I think that half of those kids would be taken away. And it's not just poverty. There is a lot of poverty out here in Western Pennsylvania, but it's not just poverty. It's filth, and it's living in condemned places, and there are plenty of resources that could be used to pay for housing, and they don't avail themselves of that. A lot of it has to do with drug abuse, drug addiction. It's incredible, incredible. I just saw a comment. I think there we are. It's from Mooney, not Mooney, from Robin. My husband is a special ed teacher, and I have a social work degree. We're both mandated reporters. It sucks to call sometimes, but what could happen if we don't is far worse. That's I I think that's terrific. I didn't know you have a social work degree, or I had forgotten that. Um, we have close friends where she is a social worker, and I, my hat's off to anybody who does social work, man. That's tough. Tough, 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 tough. Oh, Harmony Montgomery was missing for years. Yeah. Yeah. Good comment. I just keep on going on down here. Marie Jubenville, my parents were the same. See, Marie, magic, right? Magic. Uh, Cabling, Gavin, yes, I remember asking my mom something and it was ask your dad. No, dad said no. um, Autumn, when I lost custody of my kids, it was hard to get them back, but there wasn't much follow up after I got them back, which surprised me. Autumn's story is an amazing story, by the way. I have like parental pride feelings toward Autumn. She's awesome. Um, Robin says in my area, the kindergarten teachers come to do a home visit. That's awesome. That's awesome. Jenny says in New York, if students miss more than a certain amount of days in a school year, I think it's like 12, the administration, principal, and social worker are required to do a home visit. I like that. I like that a lot. Guys, we're going to keep our eye on this one. And it's a sad one. Mooney, I think oh, there it is. There it is. Hey, look at this, guys. Our OG is 26-month member. Thank you, Mooney. Appreciate it. And I appreciate your sentiment. Justice for Noel. Lynn Taylor asking where are the rest of the kids now. I do not know where they are. Have Book Will Survive. Hello from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm glad you're here. And Richmond, Missouri in the house. Glad you're here too. Thank you for being here. All right, we will keep our eye on this case. Let's bring up his picture one more time, little Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez, and may his eternal soul rest in peace. And may we find justice for this tragedy that just did not have to happen at all. Now, guys, we're not out of show yet, though. We're not out of show. There's more. There is more. What do we got? We got 3 questions to do. We got headlines to do. We got good news to do. We still got at least 5 gallons of show left, maybe 3 gallons of show. So why don't we go ahead and just hop into 3 questions, shall we?
3 questions with Gavin Fish.
How? Okay, guys, in this segment, I'm trying to bring it up here. The 3 questions segment. There we go. Bring up the right button. Javi's been training me on the weekends so that I'm pushing the right buttons. In 3 questions, I answer 3 of your questions that you send to 3questions@gavinfish.com. Spelled out, THREE, questions at gavinfish.com. You can send in as many as you'd like. They can be hard questions. They could be easy questions. They could be whatever you want. You want to know what my favorite color is? You want to know the mysteries of the universe? You can ask them. Nothing's off the table. I will answer everything. But I get to choose the order, and I do them 3 at a time. That is the deal. Question number 1 comes to us from C. Warren 58, and C. Warren asks, how are you celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country? You know what's funny? I have a cousin who was born on July 4th, 1976. I was just a mere like 8 months old when he was born. And we would talk about, oh man, when we're 50. Well, I was 50. I would be 50. He would be 51. Or 49. I got to do my math correctly there. But I remember when we were little kids, we would talk, we're going to be 50 at when America turns 250. That's crazy. That's going to be forever. And here we are, just in the foothills of the vast mountain, which is the celebration of the 250th anniversary of our country, which has a fancy name. I just say 250th anniversary. Our little town here in Western Pennsylvania does the 4th of July right. So we are going to do nothing different than what we do every year, which is celebrate with our town Independence Day, and we do it out at the Allegheny River. We join together as a community. There's music, there's food, like carnival kind of food. There's kids running around with sparklers like it's the 1960s. There are always fireflies all over the place because it's nice and humid and warm because of the season. Fireflies are everywhere. We always buy the kind of lanterns that you let off. We usually let off several lanterns. Several people do that. And then the night is capped off with a giant fireworks display over the Allegheny River. It is something that it's a vista to behold. It's something that I really look forward to. And I am a person that I try to avoid crowds, but on the 4th of July, I just love it. I just love it. So that is what we're going to do. By the way, I love questions in 3 questions where y'all can answer the questions. So tell me what you're going to be doing. Question number 2. If you could master any skill, what would it be? If I could master any skill. Depends on the time of my life, like when I was a kid with that bamboo forest and making my swords and my bow staffs and all that stuff, and taking sprockets off of bicycles and pretending they're like throwing stars. I would say I would like to master the art of Jeet Kune Do or something like that. But as a grown man, if I could master any skill, I would master. I don't know. Well, what would I do? You got to answer the question, Gavin. That's the covenant. That's the promise. You know what would be cool? And this seems kind of weird, but our basement is our house was built in at the turn of the century, and not the turn of the 21st century, the turn of the 20th century, and so it's 120 some odd years old, and it has a limestone foundation, which means that water gets into the basement, right? I would love to have the skills to like rent an excavator and excavate out from around our foundation and seal it from the outside. And then they have those little mini excavators that are tiny that can go down into like basements. And I would dig out the whole thing like further down, and I would create like the coolest just hangout spot. And there'd be like a billiards room down there. There would be arcade games. There would be a theater down there, but it would all hinge on me learning how to operate heavy equipment. I guess that's what I would do right now. It would be fun to do all that. Kimberly reminds me that living in a house of almost 8,600 square feet, we don't need any more room. But I disagree. I could use those extra 3,000 square feet for a place for grandkids to come and hang out and have fun. Right now, we are setting up a dark room in the old coal crib down there, which is I'm really looking forward to. We've got it. We now officially have everything for the dark room. I need to hang a couple of curtains tonight, and then I'm going to be mixing chemicals, and hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be developing film. So I'm excited about it. Okay, question number 3. Kelly asks, do you like to camp? Kelly, I love to camp. I love camping. Camping for me, let me describe the ultimate camping trip for me. Okay, I would arrive at our camping location by car. And when we get there, I would be greeted by a doorman. And I would go inside because camping for me would be inside. And I would be greeted by yet more people who would check me in to the beautiful suite with comfortable beds that Kimberly and I and the kiddos could dwell in for however long we wanted. Preferably, it would be set. The facility would be set above the ocean, looking down on a beautiful beach. Uh, and you know, we're gonna we're we're gonna what's the word that I'm looking for? I can only think of grunge, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. We're gonna slum it, okay? In this dream, we're gonna go with a 4-star hotel. So we're totally slum camping at that point. No, I don't like to camp. I do not want to sleep on the ground. I do not want to sleep on even the pad. No, and like I have done my fair share of it. I was a Boy Scout. I grew up scouting. And so it was like every weekend, or well, one weekend every month, I was out camping. And truth be told, those were great experiences. I was out there with my friends and my friends' dads, and we had a great time. But as an old guy, no. I volunteered with a guy once who said, I don't like camping. It's always either too hot or too cold or too wet or too dry. You know where it's perfect? My living room. And I echo those sentiments. So, those are your 3 questions in the live stream or in the comments, however you want to do it. Tell me how you'd answer these questions. Question number 1: how are you celebrating our nation's 250th anniversary if you are a citizen of this great nation? Number 2: if you could master any skill, what would it be? And number 3: do you like to camp? And I will look forward to reading your responses shortly. But before we do that, there are a couple of headlines that we need to get to. Let's dive in.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie, guys. A couple of headlines in the cases that we've been following. This being reported by Entertainment Weekly, written by Kathleen Perricone. Nancy Guthrie's family is no longer in contact with local sheriff. After more than 100 days since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, her family is no longer in contact with the local sheriff leading the investigation in Tucson. Nanos, the sheriff, has revealed that all communication with Savannah Guthrie and her siblings, sister Annie and brother Cameron, has been through other investigators working on the case. That is the worst. This is an assignment that this reporter got saying, "Hey, we have nothing to report on, so find something to report on." So anyway, Sheriff Chris Nanos is not personally in touch with Nancy Guthrie's family. That's the long and short of it. I'm not even going to continue on this one because that is dumb. But headline number 2 from people.com. This one was bittersweet for me. It was so sweet that the school did this, but so sad that it had to be done. Written by Chris Spargo. Headline reads, Anna Kepner's dad wiped away tears while accepting her diploma. The commencement ceremony at Temple Christian School in Florida paid tribute to a graduating senior who was not there that night, Anna Kepner. Look at this picture. Goodness. 6 months after she was killed aboard Carnival Cruise Line's Horizon, friends, family, and classmates honored Anna over the weekend in Titusville. Among those in attendance were Christopher and Chantel Kepner, Anna's father and stepmother. Christopher accepted his daughter's diploma during the ceremony, and in video obtained by Good Morning America was seen wiping tears from his face as the auditorium gave him a standing ovation. The entire Kepner family attended the celebration, and Christopher, as well as Anna's half-brother, both wore shirts with blue butterflies, her favorite, in tribute. Let's look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Chantel also made a senior table for Anna filled with photos of her and her friends from over the years. It was hard, Christopher said of collecting Anna's diploma. Being in her place to do that was very hard. Yeah. Christopher and Chantel also spoke about the upcoming murder trial and their frustration over the fact that the person accused of killing Anna is still not in custody and is instead living with a family member. Christopher and Chantel previously said they cut all ties with T.H., Mr. Hudson, after the cruise and are once again asking why the judge granted him pretrial release. The couple said they were frustrated and upset by the decision, according to Good Morning America. So, yeah. Public defender representing Mr. Hudson entered a not guilty plea on his client's behalf in court last month. The trial is set for September, and we know it's not going to happen in September. It never does. But those guys are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okay, Wanda, I'm turning it over to you. I know you got your barbershop quartet in there. The last segment, before we read everybody's answers to 3 questions, is good news. You guys arranged something over the weekend. You're going to perform it now. Okay, guys, here we go. Here's our transition music from Wanda singing bass with her nephews and a couple of other family members. Go for it, Wanda. Let's hear it.
Good news ringing warm and clear, bringing smiles from ear to ear. Happy stories bright and true, make the whole world shine anew.
Wanda, that was delightful. That was like a saltine cracker cleansing my palate between Epicurean sampling. It was delicious. It was delicious. I love it. Have you prepared others that we can use on other days as well? Yeah, let's hear it. Let's see. Okay, so here is version number 2, guys. Let's see what. Again, Wanda singing bass. All right, go for it.
Glad tidings fill the air today. Worries seem to drift away. Hearts grow light with every word. Joyful news is sweetly heard.
That was really good. Wanda, good job. Okay, that is good transition music for us to go over to our good news. You know, we want to end the live stream with some good news. I personally like the news about animals. I don't know, the animal kingdom makes me happy. So this from the Good News Network, written by Andy Corbley. Over 200 volunteers lead largest ever oyster reef restoration off England's Portsmouth. Okay, last week, volunteers dumped 20,000 oysters into English waters to recreate historic, biodiverse oyster reefs. 260 people came down to, it's probably pronounced Chester Harbor in Portsmouth, to take part in what one of the participating organizations called the UK's largest subtidal oyster reef restoration project. For centuries, native oysters were part of everyday life across an area of the English coast called the Solent. Coastal communities relied on oyster beds for food, trade, and employment, with evidence of oysters being harvested in the harbor dating back to Roman times. The restoration aims not only to recover a lost species, but to help reconnect the region with an important part of its maritime heritage. The large-scale effort forms part of the Solent Seascape Project and is led by ocean conservation charity Blue Marine Foundation, alongside Chester Harbor Conservancy and the University of Portsmouth's Institute of Marine Sciences, where volunteers arrived to help clean and carefully check the oysters as part of biosecurity procedures organized by the scientists there. Don't want to introduce the bad stuff too, so good. This is a hugely significant moment for marine restoration in the UK, said Dr. Luke Helmer from the Solent Seascape Project. Continuing his quote, native oysters were once abundant across the Solent, but populations have collapsed over the last century. By restoring oyster reefs at this scale, we're helping rebuild an ecosystem that supports biodiversity, improves water quality, and benefits coastal communities. Despite the decline described by Dr. Helmer, oysters remain one of the marine environment's most important ecosystem engineers. A single oyster can filter up to 200 liters or around 44 gallons of water a day. This includes water quality or improves water quality, while the reefs they form create habitats for hundreds of marine species and help protect coastlines from erosion. Quote, what's especially exciting is the scale of public support behind this effort. Having hundreds of volunteers directly involved in preparing oysters for deployment shows how strongly people want to be want to be part of restoring our seas. And you can continue. Oh, there's only one paragraph left. Okay. This is not the coalition's first mass volunteer effort. In 2025, the Solent Seascape Project organized the planting of 120,000 seagrass seeds in and around the mouth of the Hamble River. A few months on, the plants have created a salt marsh area the size of a soccer field. The local community contributed more than 700 volunteer hours to seagrass seed collection alone. That's awesome. So that's good news, guys. That makes me feel happy. And speaking of feeling happy, I would be happy to go over and see what you guys are saying about or answering your 3 questions. Let's refresh and scrollify here. Let's see. Jenny says, let's bring it up on screen. Our family celebrates 4th of July in Ticonderoga, New York every year with my grandparents and extended family. It's called the Best Fourth in the North. Sounds a lot like what your town does. That's awesome. That's cool. I'm glad that you're going to be doing that, especially with family. Mooney says, Gavin, best camping ever was in Acadia National Park in Maine. We camped on Cliff Rocks. See, Mooney, I'm just going to have to lovingly and respectfully disagree. That's not the best camping ever. I've camped in 5-star hotels in Thailand. I'm telling you, it was terrific. It was terrific. Cabling says, camping is a hotel without a swimming pool. And Jenny says, camping was one of the activities my parents could afford when I was a kid, so I love camping. I work 6 to 7 days a week in the summer now, so I'm not able, but my mom camps all summer and takes the kids. Well, for people who love it, I'm happy for you. I'm happy. When I was a kid, we had a family reunion each year called the Sleep Out, which was a camping family reunion, and it was my grandfather's brothers and sisters and then their children and their children. So it was like a family reunion for my great grandparents' family. And it was called the Sleep Out. We loved it. It was fun to see extended family. And what's really fun about that now is that I've got second cousins that I know really, really well because we spent our childhood summers camping for a week together. So I shouldn't poo-poo it. Marie Jubinville says, we went camping as a family. We started with a tent camper, then a travel trailer, then finally a motorhome. It was wonderful. That is the best way to do it. Doe says, having a barbecue for the 250th. Excellent. Also says, I prefer day trips to the beautiful outdoors, followed by a good night's sleep in my own bed. That's a person after my own heart. Frida People says, I'd love to learn to dance well. I'm horrible. 2 left hooves or something like that. I wouldn't mind finding a rhythm. That would be pretty cool too. Clarinet Girl says, I want to be proficient in speaking French and Portuguese. That's a good goal. My 4th of July is annual Peach Festival, parade, barbecue, etc. Camping is a definite no and no again. That's funny. See if there's anything else. Looks like everything else is does not have a GF in it. So thank you very much, guys, for spending that time with me. We will be back tomorrow. Of course, we got lots of cases that we're taking a look at. My list right now includes Sandra Birchmore, Melody Buzzard, Ellen Greenberg, Nancy Guthrie, Baby Emmanuel Haro, Amy Hilliard, Anna Kepner, Charlie Kirk, Suzanne Morphew, Kevin Mullins, Alex Murdaugh case. So I should say Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. Gabriela Carvalho Perpetua, Robin Michelle Reiner. We're keeping an eye on the Jonathan Lee Riches case, though. People keep sending me fake stuff. Like, hey, look what I found. It's not real. Celeste Rivas is at the top of our list. We have not forgotten about Kata Scott or Suzanne Simpson or the Lake and Snelling case, nor have we forgotten about Lily and Jack Sullivan, Monique and Spencer Tepe, or Caitlin Tracy. Those are the cases that are on my stream deck, all my buttons. So and now we've got little Noel Rodriguez-Alvarez that we are adding to the list. We're keeping our eye on those, and we come back every day, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on YouTube, and then later on we upload it to Spotify. where you can watch it if you have a premium video subscription and you're in the rewatch crew. Boy, would I appreciate you watching over there. They pay way more. and and we also upload to Facebook. Of course, you can find me on my website, gavinfish.com. Let me bring that up so you know what it looks like. Right here, gavinfish.com. You can read Crime Cod, which is our website and newsletter that that is true crime news from all over the fruited plain. If you sign up for the newsletter, that comes out on Tuesdays typically. Sometimes I'm kind of late, but we're all set up for tomorrow. So, be on the lookout on your inbox for that one. And of course, if you click on the little fishy up here in the corner, that will take you to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook. That is our main social media spot, though I am on X, I'm on Instagram, but this is where I mainly am. So if you're on Facebook, you are cordially invited. With that, guys, nothing more to say. I bid you adieu until tomorrow. And until then, please take care of yourselves. And I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.